We're here with Francis Lakers of the Superior International Junior Hockey League. How are you today, Nakoda?
Not too bad. How are you doing today?
Good, good. First things first, I asked you off camera, but being wintertime, I hear it's raining up in Fort Francis.
Yeah, very odd time today, but that's just what it chose today.
Exactly. First questions I usually ask is growing up, how did you decide on hockey as what you wanted to do?
I think my family was a big part of that. My dad grew up playing it, and having 3 brothers, I got dragged to the sport, and I just fell in love with it when I started playing around with it.
Now, let's talk a little bit. You're in Fort Francis, but you're from Alberta, from First Nations. Can you talk a little bit of how you ended up coming from Alberta all the way to Fort Francis?
My brother played here when I was a lot younger. I think they were called the Sabres at the time, and yeah, really, I want to try to take the next step to junior hockey. And he said he knew the coach at the time, Wayne, and he got me a tryout here, and I guess that's how that kind of unraveled.
And again, being in Fort Francis, where people don't know, I'm in Sault Ste. Marie. That's about 8 hours north of Toronto in Ontario. And then you guys probably another 7 hours, no, about 9 hours north of us. So,
Yeah, no, it was a 16-hour drive from Alberta to here, so it was definitely a long one, but along the way, it's a beautiful sight to see everything.
and getting to Fort, like I say, so people know, what was it like your first experience coming there 3 years ago, coming from where you are to Fort Francis?
Everybody was welcoming. I think we had a good core group that just made it more of a welcoming stand play, and I think it was the best chance and place I could have got to play my rookie year.
And now being your third year, you're wearing the C on your jersey. What's your goal after junior hockey?
After junior hockey, I my goal is to try to play college hockey or continue as long as I can because you only get to play hockey once in a lifetime. So I don't feel comfortable passing that up just yet. So I want to see how long it can take me.
And that's the thing, right? You're only young once, so enjoy it now because, like I say, we all, no matter where you play, you always end up in the beer league when you're done, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So this year, right now, like I say, going into the second half of the season, you guys are sitting in seventh. Like I say, not where anybody wants to be, but as a captain, what do you want to do to try to help your guys to, like you say, move up in the roster second half of the season?
Well, for the beginning and a half, we didn't have the amount of guys we needed. We were running 2 lines and getting exhausted, but we were competing all we can. And now, come down to the first half of the season, we have the guys we need. I think we just need to work out these little areas to help us get going. I believe Dave knows what he has for us planned, and I believe us and the guys trust him in anything he has for us. So I just say we just wait it out for now, get out of the rough patch, and we'll get going.
And again, I watched many of your games and starting the season up until what 2 3 weeks ago, the scores are quite separated,
Mhm.
and now they're only 1 or 2 goal games. So you guys are progressing quite fast, aren't you?
Yeah, we are, and that's what we aim for. Like I did an interview in Dryden saying how I believe we were going to be the St. Louis Blues when they won their championship year. They had a rough start, but I believe come playoff time we will make a push for that.
And that's the biggest thing, right? Like you say, you play all season, but the biggest goal is first just to make it into the playoffs and surprise everybody, right?
Yeah.
So next question is biggest influence in your hockey career to until today.
I think it would have been my brothers. Growing up playing street hockey every day with them, it was just amazing to see them how they played elite hockey growing up and seeing them win their championships. I wanted to follow in their footsteps so bad, and I think my dad has a big part to play in that, just helping me progress in anything I needed, like my shot, my hands, and yeah, I think my brothers have a big part to play in that.
And being from First Nations, and now as I say, as the years come on with with players in the NHL and stuff like that, a lot more First Nation players making it there or to college and stuff like that. Does that give you a little bit more motivation?
Oh yeah, well, a ton of motivation. Watching Jordan Tutu grow up and Brady Keeper and Wasey Rabbit, those guys were big influencers that I looked up to, and like just watching them progress throughout the leagues. And I just hope that I can be one of them and show the First Nation people that they can follow behind me and that anything is possible.
And in Fort Francis, when the management called you up and said, "Hey, you're putting the C on your jersey," what was that like? And did any of your hockey mentality switch at all when putting that C on your jersey?
I it was a great honor, and it still is a great honor. But for me personally, I believe you don't need a letter to lead a team. It's all about how much work you're gonna put in and how you're gonna help the team become better. And growing up, that's always how I've been. Being the team's captain is unbelievably a great honor, and I'm glad the organization trusted me with that. But yeah, like I said, I think having a letter in your jersey, you can be a leader with or without it.
Now, do you feel any more pressure with it on your jersey?
I would say like maybe the first game, it was definitely a different feel, but as you settled in more to it, I got back to my game, what I need to do, and as much, not as much now.
And one thing, like you say, with getting into the game and stuff like that, as a captain, where you guys sit in the roster, is it? Do you feel pressure there to try to motivate the guys to get, like you say, move up in their standings?
I wouldn't say too much pressure, but the guys know where we're standing, and we know we could be playing better. So I think just the next coming days come down to the last week of the season, or the first half of the season, I should say. I believe we can win these next couple games and bring that into next year for the next half of the season will be great for us.
And what was it like? I've talked to because we live in a border city here, but you guys also play Thief River in Minnesota and Wisconsin and Spooner. Is What was it like this year? And I hate to bring up COVID, but what was it like this year to actually get across that border and go to play in the United States?
We have yet to cross that border yet. We
I
are,
haven't been. Okay.
yeah, no, the next half of the season we'll be going to, but I'm looking forward to be playing that. It's been a long time since we've seen them, but I expect the first time we play them, we expect nothing different. They're a good hockey club over there, and just get ready to play.
And the thing is, we did ask you, like, say, a Q&A in the last little bit, and for people who haven't seen that yet, it's on junior hockey website. But one of the biggest things I ask, other than Fort Francis Ice for Kids Arena, what was probably the most favorite arena you've played in to date?
Oh, what's up today? Are you saying like around the league or just like
Nope, like say
around?
overall since you've started playing hockey.
Oh, I would say back at hometown, either the Henderson Ice Arena because of how packed the stands would get growing up, or the Brooks Bandits Arena. They have a nice facility over there.
And Brooks sits number one overall in the league right now, so it's probably
Yeah.
a hell of arena to play in.
Oh, that's a great vibe, and I hopefully we can play them in the RBC if it's still called that, I believe.
No, it's Centennial Cup now.
Oh, okay, okay,
I went back
yeah,
to Centennial Cup about 3 years ago. So,
yeah. No, it would be great to see them there. So,
and like I say, as a third year player in the SIJHL, and it doesn't have to be the SIJHL, but when talking to kids now, started going into the new year, what's the biggest advice to tell kids who are saying coming out of the U18 and that about making that jump and what they should be looking for and what they should be working on?
um, definitely in the summertime, take advantage of anything you can get. Either get in the gym, getting any ice time again. Just like try and work right at your game. Talk to your coaches or your parents who see that game where you can improve, and just try to really get your skills down set. And when it comes to the training camps and advice you get, don't put too much pressure on yourself trying to stand out. Work on your game, show the coaches what you can do in your aspect and getting better.
And you use as a prime example as Jordan Tutu is. Doesn't matter where you're from. If you have the talent, they're going to find you, right?
Yeah, and like I think for me, seeing that Jordan Tutu was more of a, I guess back in the day, it was real a lot hitting and fighting, but just seeing that him make it at a young age and the WHL as a 16-year-old, it was all the motivation I needed to get. Seeing him lead the way, and I believe that if you're dedicated enough, you can make it as far as you dream.
And this one that we ask here is, what's the most surprising real hockey tradition in Fort Francis that most people don't know in the SIJHL?
Oh, I wouldn't say there's too much, but it's probably the fan base and how dedicated they are. It's a big hockey town here, and the tradition they bring to every game, just supporting or in a loss, it's definitely an atmosphere you want to be a part of.
And that's one thing about social media. I know when we post articles about the team and everything else, is people are just support the team. It's you guys are, I guess you say, big fish in a little pond, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple questions I always ask is, first and foremost, put you on the spot. The best dresser in the dressing room coming into the games.
Ooh. You want to clarify on that? The best dresser? Like one of the
Best dresser,
guys?
like comes in, like say wearing the suit or like say the cap or
Oh, I I would say either between our my goaltender Heiner and me. I love looking fashionable for every game. Either that's like a last game or a Christmas suit, but I love being the kind of the best dresser in the room. So it's either
just like
between
when
me
you're
or
watching
Ethan Heine.
you're watching TSN and all the players are walking in right with their suits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I love the fashion aspect of that game.
Now the next one is who's the biggest? I guess a class clown. Who's the biggest joker in the dressing room?
Oh, it would have to be Ethan Jourdain. The guy's he can make some funny jokes at a time, and when the guys are tough in the dressing room, he'll pop one and he'll lighten the mood a little bit.
And him being he's also a veteran. He's been there as long as you have, hasn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. I've been
Yeah.
playing with him since my rookie year.
And another one we ask is who's the most silent in the dressing room but loud on the ice?
Oh, I would have to say that's Brady Wickland or our goalie Mason Meyer. Those guys, they're quiet in the dressing room. Oh, and I would say Rossetti. He's a big piece where he's a quiet guy, and I guess you could say for all of them, they're quiet in the dressing, but when they get on the ice, they're always working better to get out of their game. And yeah, I'd say have to be those three.
And one we do ask, what's probably your most embarrassing moment in since
Um,
you played hockey?
I had a couple of those. I would have to say in a tournament, I had a chance for us to win the game, but I missed a wide open net, hit the crossbar, and it's definitely an embarrassing feeling. But and not to mention, I hit the boards after that and fell over. So, but luckily, my team got to finish it off in overtime and get the medal for us.
And one question again we ask in the Q and A is when it comes to shootout, Dave put you out there. What are you doing in the shootout? Not to ask secrets, but
Not to put any secrets, but I think I'd have to go the same answer I gave my Q&A. I'd probably fall over, but if luckily I didn't, I would love to do a fake shot and do forehand or backhand. See if the goalie buys on first.
and how does it feel going into that Dryden Memorial Arena with that crowd and the way those guys play their style of game?
Oh, ever since my rookie year, they came hitting hard, but it's what you expect on a Dryden Ice Club. They're a nice physical team. That's what the coach wants. But from their fan standpoint, it's definitely they get a hometown advantage for sure. But with the way we play, we can play with any team in the league. So it's not really too much of a changing point. It's just getting ready to bring our best.
And we always ask is for people who don't know you or family watching, is there anything you'd like to share with us about something people might not know about Fort Francis or about Nakoda Thunderchief?
One about Fort Francis is just again, people wouldn't think someone from a small town they would have a big capacity for hockey, but the love here for hockey, everybody comes out from the Coach Ching to emo. We have a lot of fans come to support us every game. And from my standpoint, I would think I have a love for rodeo. My grandpa Richard, who passed on, he had this love that I kind of fell into, and rodeo played a big part in that.
No, rodeo. Have you ever been involved in one yet?
Yeah, I've been in a couple growing up, and it was more or less the rough stock, like stair riding. And I think if I retire from hockey, I would try to give it one last go at it. But it is definitely extreme sport that has a lot of injuries come from it.
And thing is, teammates might make fun of you here. What's the craziest song that you downloaded onto your phone from Spotify or Apple that
Oh,
they'd be surprised you listen to?
I would definitely say, oh, play a couple of interesting songs when I get the aux and the DJ. But I would have to say, for right now, it'd have to be "Baby" by Justin Bieber. It's an old classic. Everybody hates on it, but I would say that's one of my guilty pleasure songs.
And Canadian, so you have to support it, right?
Oh yeah, and he definitely has better music coming out than when he did as a teenager. But I think that's the one where you listen to it, and it's just kind of old favorite where it brings you a lot of memories.
And we always like to ask is now being the captain even more, is the chemistry amongst players, and how is it forming as like say as the games go on and as the season goes on?
I definitely think from the beginning, with us having like a small group of guys and adding new players, the chemistry is coming along great. Everybody's talking with each other. There's no problems in the room. Everybody gets along great, and the coach can put us with anybody on any line, which means we all seem to click with each other. And I think that's just a big part. And it's just everybody talks to everybody in the dressing room. There's nobody getting isolated in the dressing room. We try to make everybody feel included.
And go through, like I say, just briefly, but go through like a game day routine for you, and like you say, on a game day in Fort Francis, what do you do? Get ready for the game.
Mine's very simple yet kind of complicated. I try to wake up at an early decent time because we always have our team meetings. But after that, I always try to have a good breakfast. But for my pregame wise, I'd have it shortly after because I can't eat anything past 2 or 3. I just feel too heavy. But showing up to the rink, um, oh, it's always a 2.5 hour, no matter what. And for the first 30 minutes to, let's say, 45, I usually keep to myself, stretching, doing my listen to my own warm up, make sure I feel comfortable, then going with the team. Then after we get done that, if we're playing at home, I usually like to sit on our home side bench, just visualizing the game, seeing every outcome that's possible, then taping my stick.
And for people who don't know the SIJHL, and you coming from just outside of Lethbridge, Alberta, so you probably played in a lot of areas around where you are. Did it take a lot of getting
Mhm.
used to traveling on that bus to a lot of places in northwestern Ontario?
I would say yes and no. Growing up, I played in a lot of tournaments, like the Fred Sackmus tournament I played last summer. It's definitely for the love of the game. You definitely suffer long hours on the bus, but I think that's a great part of the game. You get to see different places and arenas, but it's definitely worth the wait.
And also, it helps with team bonding too, right?
Yeah, the team bonding on the bus is great. Seeing all the guys. Some guys watch movies, some guys play cards, but I think after the game, a lot of guys want to like just relax, and that's when the most bonding begins.
And we like last thing I'd like to ask is there anything you'd like to say to anybody watching before we let you go?
Mostly thank you to all my coaches who helped me get here today, and thank you to my parents who are always supporting, and to the friends and family. Hockey is one of the greatest aspects of my life I got to play, and I don't think I would be here unless I got their help and support.
And last, again, we usually ask is about your billets. What's it like? You say who you're building with, and what's it was like to move into somebody else's house in Fort Francis.
My rookie year, I got bulleted with. I think at the time it was the best I could get for a 18-year-old coming in. I got bulleted with 3 teammates, and they're the Pesniks. Great billet house for them. But now I'm staying with my teammate Nakakla and his parents. They're more than welcoming. They stay on the outside of the town a little bit, so it's more of a country vibe, and it makes me feel more close to home. And they've been more than welcoming since I came and lived with them.
Well, Nakoda, I can't thank you enough, and hopefully we can do this when you're into the second or third round of playoffs.
Thank you for having me, and yeah, that sounds like a great plan. So thank you for having me
Well,
on.
we'll talk soon and enjoy the holidays.